Yo, peace. It's the God, AllahKing Wize. You know, right here on this Wisdom Born Day. Sitting here, I was live on Instagram a few minutes ago and expressing wise words of wisdom. So, I was on there talking about how some people be wondering, where I get my passion from, where I get my drive and all of that. Cause I put a post up saying, I'm coming with the same type of like energy like Bianca, Hannibal, and Genghis Khan. And so, these individuals were like military conquerors. They was dealing with some like massive movements of mobilizing and organizing in regards to the land, the original lands and stuff like that, right? So, when you can take that type of drive and that type of passion and transfer or translate or convert that type of energy into, like legalized enterprising, they can't stop you. They can't stop us. They can't stop us. And for me, my drive come from Allah's mathematics. Those 36 keys, the mathematics and the alphabets, that right there unlock the dormant power from within. That's just for me. You got many methods. You got different schools of thought. You got different aspects of knowledge. That the original man dealt with in the ancient times, and then some of it been passed down different ways to nowadays and all of that. But I just know works for me. The different trials and tribulations I've been through in my life, I don't believe. I know for a fact. How some people, like I said, on the Instagram live, some people can go through something like a near-death experience or a real hard time, and then they could be like, well, see, that's how I know God is real. Your God is real though, but they be like, they be saying that they know that it's some God far away in the sky that brought them through that situation where they like maybe had like a near-death experience, or some type of trial or tribulations that really like rock their mind real bad. See, I've been through those type of things, and I know and understand that it's the power within me for an actual fact. Cause I seen people losing their mind. They was losing their mind under certain harsh conditions. And those harsh conditions really brought out the power that's within me. It made it be a demand. And so, this is what I'm saying though. A lot of people trying to figure out, why things are the way they are right now. People keep getting shot. People keep getting killed. You acting like that just started. People acting like, this just started. Like, it's people overwhelmed. I can't believe this and that. This shit been going on. Where you been? So you know why it seemed like it's a big deal to you? Because people talking that woke shit like, oh, I'm woke. You just now becoming aware of what always been an issue here in the United States. Ever since it been the United States, it been gun smoke. You know what I'm saying? It been rape, murder, it been kidnapping, it been all of that. And who really was on, I ain't even gotta tell you, already know who was the victims of this. We were the black people. We were the victims of the rape, the murder, the kidnapping, all the dehumanizing things that could be done to a human. We've been dealing with that. Generation after generation after generation after generation. So what the fuck you overwhelmed for? What you talking about? Oh, I'm stressed out. Do you already know? See, you can only be like that when you don't know your history. You can believe about this, you can have faith about this, but you have to know. You gotta know. And when you don't care about what happened, you hear some people say, I don't care about what happened, you know, all this time ago back then. And that's the fucking reason why your ass so stressed out and talking about you depressed and can't function in relationship to the demands of everyday life. Because you forgot the history of yourself. And I'm speaking about the collective history. Right? You like talk about the transatlantic slave trade. People like forget about that. Like, oh, what? You should never forget about that. So people say, oh, well, I don't really care about. Nah, because what was taking place before the transatlantic slave trade? What type of lifestyle were we living? That can give you some type of picture, some type of vision of what your life can be. Outside of just, oh, we were slaves. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we were slaves and we had to be fighting to free ourselves from white people who had us as property. And then you hear, you know, the so-called individuals that be like they conscious and studying the knowledge of the self and all that. Be like, yo, you know, yeah, I know about when we was in Africa and, you know, we was kings and queens. But do you really acknowledge that as a fact of you being a king or we descended from kings and queens? So if you saying we descended from kings and queens, what's the ways and actions of a king and a queen? What's the lifestyle of operating from that mind state, from that idea, and organizing and aligning your actions in relationship to that mindset? And yo, then some people be like, yo, they want to see me on some other, you know, because like I be promoting my book, My Life as a 5%er, 36 Chamber Disciple. I be promoting my book. I be promoting the music. I be promoting these things. But I'm going to tell you why I really be doing that. Because I've been on this. But I wasn't focused on it. Because you know why? I was so entrenched in the street. When I say I was entrenched in the street, I was deeply entrenched in the street life. So it's nothing for me to grab a blick and go smack a nigga in the head and kidnap him. Some individual has put him somewhere and take money or take jewels from him. It's nothing for me to go and be like, yo, throw me this. I'm going to move this. And I have individuals doing that. That shit easy. But that is instant gratification that can bring about long-term suffering. And I'm talking about you locked up or somebody killing you. And then you can have all these individuals around you when you live in that way. And it's like, yo, everybody, you know, putting everybody else on and motivating everybody to still get on that shit. And then individual get locked up. And then when he disappears, like, yo, the trader disappeared. There's no one to speak the language no more. You was chasing more gold, striving to get more for your labor. Did they receive more gold? So when I really began to understand how to make the lessons walk and talk and applicable to my everyday life, I began to understand like, yo, it's a demand that has to be there in order for the power of Allah within us as the original black man to come out. So when we see white supremacy activating on the planet as a dominant political force, economic force, and all that, it was designed to bring out of us supreme intelligence, the necessary intelligence to solve this issue that has been plaguing us for some time now. So you can't get overwhelmed. This ain't the time to be getting overwhelmed. This ain't the time to be like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, no, fuck that. Now is the time when you be like, you know what? Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to work itself out. And you have to know that. And you have to move and activate off that. So this is where the brotherhood come in. This is why I always keep talking about brotherhood and how valuable and how important brotherhood is. That's why I named the album The Brotherhood. I was going to name it Supreme Brotherhood, but, you know, I ain't want to go into that because certain things already align a certain way. So, you know, in hip hop is a certain thing. Yo, you don't want to be biting up nobody. You don't want to be trying to like sound like this or equate yourself. So you have to be original. You know, you come up with it, and you know, some things, you know, you see and you associate it with it, and it's a part of your brotherhood. And so you're like, okay, yo, I'm associated with that a certain way, so I can rock that a certain way. But you know, strive to be yourself. You know, be who you're supposed to be within yourself. But nevertheless, you know, I'm talking about like the reason why brotherhood is so valuable, because you cannot make it alone. You hear some people say, yo, I was born alone. You fucking ass wasn't born alone. You came out of your mother. You wasn't alone. It was somebody there when you came out. People use the term, oh, I was born by myself and I'm going to die by myself. Nah, you wasn't born by yourself. You might have came out the womb, just one person. One individual came out the womb, but it was people. It might not have been a whole lot of people, but there was at least one person there, and that was your mother. Or you say God ain't got no mother, but your old earth was there. Right? So, yo, when you dealing with brotherhood, I ain't gonna go too much deep into that because, yo, I'm gonna go live June 13th when the album is scheduled to come out. Making sure everything goes in accordance with what it's supposed to be. Because, you know, sometimes you got technical shit that happen that kind of like throw things off. But as of this moment, June 13th, The Brotherhood. And it's only God's songs. You know, it's only 7 songs because, you know, I put something together, you know, and just want to express myself, express some things. And this is what my brother's been looking for. Yo, I know some of my brothers like, yo, I'm waiting for AllahKing Wize to like give it, yo, how you know how I know he be expressing it, drop it, how I know he be dropping it. So, yo, everything come in his own time. You know, Allah come in his own good time. You know, everything come in his own good time. And so I've been building with my different brothers, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I always can identify with my brother's struggle. Because I want for my brother what I want for myself. And that's what? Happiness. I want my brother to be happy. So, like, when I was locked down, right? When I was inside the clinks, you know, be on the phone and I can experience certain things through my brothers. See, I'm not the type of individual to be jealous and envious. So, because I'm not jealous and envious of my brother, I can enjoy what my brother enjoy without me having to physically be partaking in it. Just the idea in my mind, the thought in my head of knowing, yo, my brother is doing this. Like when I was locked up, I had different brothers. Oh, yo, my brother like, yo, I'm going to Puerto Rico. Or, you know, I'm going out of, you know, my cousin, like I'm going to Egypt. I'm happy for them. I'm sitting up in a cell though. And I'm not stressed out. Not saying I wasn't experiencing pressure. It's a difference. What people is defining as stress is overwhelming pressure. And one thing about me, I'm not going to let nothing overwhelm me. That ain't going to happen. You see, I'm not going to let, overwhelm me. I let it in and let it out. You know, I absorb it, see it for what it really is. And then I'm like, yo, breathe, yo. You gotta pay attention to your breathing. Your breathing is the key. Your breath is the key. So, yo, your wisdom expressed and born through a certain aspect of balance. So the inhale and the exhale, you got to concentrate on your breathing. And if you like pay attention, so you do the knowledge to your breathing a certain way, it allows for the pressure to be relieved. You can relieve the pressure from you. And it's something you got to practice. You got to consistently do it. And then you got to keep the mathematics on your brain. See, for me, I use mathematics. Because see, when I express mathematics and I quote my degrees, my breathing comes in a certain type of coordination. Everything begins to align a certain way because I do it all the time. It's consistent. It's like muscle memory. So you practice these certain type of these certain type of exercises, mental and physical exercises. Then you aligning yourself. You aligning yourself with yourself. But I ain't gonna get all scientific because some people are like, yo, what the fuck is you talking about? So he said, yo, keep it simple. But when you keep it something simple, that's relative to the individual you're talking to. Because what may be simple for somebody could be complex for somebody else. So, you know, it's all tailoring your wisdom to who could be listening. And so the people was like, yo, you know, this dude went up in there and shot up the people. Or they was this other dude went and shot up the children. And people like overwhelmed. Like, oh, yo, man, this shit been going on. It been taking place, G. Yo, ever since there was a place called the United States of America, all of that crazy stuff been going on. Did you forget, yo, we was chattel slaves? Like, yo, we was getting raped, kidnapped, murdered on a regular basis. Hung from trees and shit. Fingers cut off as souvenirs passed around. They don't want you to remember that type of stuff. You know, so they be like, yo, Will, why you want to be talking about what happened in the 30s and the 1800s? Because, motherfucker, that shit still affect you right now. You trying to figure out why you stressed out. You trying to figure out why it seemed like you can't win against certain people because you forgot your history. And some never even knew their history. So you don't even have, like, a drive to want to know. So therefore, if you don't want to know, you're going to suffer. And you're going to suffer, and you're going to suffer, and you're going to go crazy. So you're taking all these different medicines and shit trying to stay sane. Because you lost the knowledge of self. And that's dealing with your history, our history. So they want to start us with, oh, you was a chattel slave. What were we doing before we came into the transatlantic slave trade? Well, yo, what type of lifestyle were we living? So people say, yeah, we was kings and queens. But do you really acknowledge that, though? Like, how were we kings and queens? What type of, you know, characteristics do a king have? What type of characteristics do a queen have? What type of lifestyle do you supposed to be living? You understand what I'm saying? They have us be like feeding into certain ways that keep us stuck. So, yeah, you already know the fucking problem. What's the solution? The solution is learn and know your history. And that is going to build up your confidence. I'm talking about trace your history back to a point in time where you can see a glorious civilization. Now, yo, we don't have to be trying to replicate certain things that we seen. And, you know, some people, you know, they get on the Afrocentric thing. That's cool. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. But, yo, the way we show and prove our power as the makers, the owners, you understand? It's a way, the way that we show and prove our power is to create a new reality. To bring peace to all the confusion. You understand? This is how we show and prove we the mothers and fathers, the fathers and mothers, that we the gods of the universe. How we show and prove that? Yo, all this shit that's going on, bring peace to it. Solve these problems, life issues, create new institutions, provide sustenance that keep life in motion on, you know what I mean, your everyday necessities of life. When you are able to do that without the side effects of creating a problem somewhere else, and then the world began to realize like, oh, yo, we need to go learn from here, because in our ancient times, people was coming to learn from us when we was in the ancient Kemet, when we was in Timbuktu, when we was in all these places. We had these schools of thought, of knowledge. And then they had like little secret aspects of it. And it all boiled down to what? The black man is the God. It's just different methodologies of how you go about expressing that. And so when you really know this, you move with a certain type of confidence. You have a certain type of confidence, right? And it has to be a healthy confidence, because you can't become arrogant. If you become arrogant, you're going to cut off your power. You can't be too passive. You can't even be passive at all. You can't be passive. You can't be arrogant. If you passive, your power not going to activate. If you arrogant, your power not going to fully activate. It's a balance. So that's what that wisdom born coming to knowledge. That knowledge is the balance. Because Yaqub was successful because of what? Everything he told them to do, they did it. If not, they paid with their lives. He wasn't playing no games. Yo, they was finished. Their life was gone. And if your word is not kept, because your word is born regardless of what, it said, yo, I give my life. So how you can lose your life is you can lose a state of understanding what's your purpose. Because, you know, they got mental death. So if an individual dealing with mental death, they looking at life as it's impossible to meet the demands of living. You mentally dead when you. So some people say, oh, because you memorize a lesson that you still not mentally dead. You can be waking up, because it takes a certain amount of time. If you've been poisoned with false knowledge of self, if you've been fed certain things when you was young about life, you've been told about Santa Claus and, you know what I'm saying, Easter Bunny, you talk about Jesus, you know, 3 in 1 and there's a God in the sky. If you've been told that shit when you was a kid, and then you've been constantly believing in that, and then you come into the knowledge like you like, yo, 30 years old, and you talking about, yo, I come into the knowledge of self. Yo, it gonna take a minute for you to really grasp and understand that knowledge. So you got to get them when you young. I got it when I was 15. And you know, it took a long time. It took a long time for me to be able to grasp and understand the magnitude of the knowledge. Like, what is it really all about? How do you make it applicable to be able to compete on a grand scale? I'm talking on an international scale. How can you take this knowledge, right, and compete internationally? Fuck, you just talking about competing right in your community, right? Okay, you gotta start inside your household. It's degrees to it. So you start inside your household, you start inside your community, you get, you know what I mean, your nation, and then you gotta take it around the world. Think about this, for those who know. Master Farah Muhammad came from another place to a place. Allah the Father had traveled before he even came into the knowledge. He already had been to Japan. He already been to Korea. You know, Justice C was a merchant seaman. He traveled the world. They had already had worldly experience. And so this is how I can show you, prove to you that everything got a level of interconnection internationally. Go deal with the Secretary of State. Yo, if you're in a Commonwealth, it's called a Secretary of the Commonwealth. But if you like in a regular state, the Secretary of State. Call the Secretary of State and listen to the, you know, and listen to what they're saying on the, like, you know, like the joint where they got the different departments. You know, understand? People like, yo, we dealing with international things and it's something new. No. Putting some niggas on a boat, you know what I mean, off the west coast of Africa and bringing them as cargo all the way over here to this, that was international. These people thought the world was flat at one time, and they ventured out like, yo, we going get it. And they was like, yo, anywhere there's not another white person, it's fair. It's fair. If we don't care who there, if you're not white and you dark there, then we gonna take it. That's how they was looking at it. They came to take it. They was ambitious. So you got to think, yo, what type of ambition you got to have to go and deal with how you going to, like, come from up under that type of oppression. So because individuals lack the true knowledge of self and they dealing with fear inside, they take it out on each other. So you can go kill this other dude over here. You look at this black dude over here, like, you fuck this nigga. Yo, I'm gonna go get him. Kill him. See what I'm saying? You ain't scared to do that.